Welcome back to the channel, everybody. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. Glad you stopped by. My name's Weston. Today, we're going to be rebuilding a hydraulic cylinder on the little John Deere tractor right here. So to get started, I'm actually going to pull these cylinders off, throw them in the back of my truck, and take them to my dad's house because it's kind of acting like it wants to rain. It's supposed to rain. It's looking kind of rough out. So it might get real loud and we won't be able to hear, and it's a mess when it rains out here. I don't have a good enclosed facility to do something like this, but my dad does, so we'll take it over there. So this is my granddad's 5103 John Deere tractor that he leaves over here and lets me use. And it has a 512 loader on it. And both of the lift cylinders on this machine, as you can see, this kind of wet looking on each end of the cylinders. But that is just because it leaks out of this end, the gland. It leaks out and then runs down. And you can see it's dripped all over the front axle. It's all coated down the back of the frame here. And if we look at this other side, it is even worse. It is really wet back in there and absolutely covered. Makes dirt stick all over the place, which makes it easy to determine where it's leaking from. But both of these are getting pretty bad. So we're going to take care of that. Start by busting these hydraulic lines off of the cylinder. Looks like we're going to make a mess. I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a second. But I have some caps to plug up these lines while the cylinder is removed. And why I don't have them out here is because I have two different kits and I wanted to make sure exactly what we have. This is O-ring face, and I'll show you that in just a moment. So here's one of those caps and plugs that I was talking about. I'll show you. This is what the cylinder side of this connection looks like. It's got a little O-ring in there, flat face with an O-ring. And the other side is just a sealing surface for that O-ring. So we will split this apart, put our cap on the cylinder side and plug the hydraulic line. That'll ensure we don't get any trash in there. This end loose. So if you do so happen to be doing specifically a 512 loader, these fittings will require a 13/16 wrench. Or you could get it with a crescent wrench, I suppose. Now that that's done, we're going to have to take these pins out of each end of the hydraulic cylinder, which holds it in place. So all these are different. These so happen to just be cotter pins with a pin through the pin. Maybe you can see a little bit better what I'm talking about here with this pin. It's just running through to keep it in place, and then a cotter pin to keep it from falling out. We'll bend that. Take that out. Then same to this side. Now this pin, all right, that's what I thought. Really, it's not in there very tight. See if this side will treat us just as good. There's our cylinder. This other cylinder is exactly the same as the other side, so I'm just going to set you up on a time lapse and pick up when we're done. So I want to show you this before we take off. The reason I make these videos is to give you the confidence that you can do this yourself. It's not very difficult. But some of the nuances between each hydraulic cylinder is how these glands come out of the cylinder. A lot of them are different. I have a good selection of examples here that we can look at. But what I'm getting at is actually how to break these cylinders down and get them apart so you can replace the seals and O-rings inside. So for starters, this cylinder off the 512 loader that we're rebuilding today, these glands are held in by a snap ring. And we'll see this in detail in this video. Now another example would be this Hitachi EX100 excavator, where the gland is held in with bolts. Coming over this way, our 650 John Deere dozer, this gland is held in by a threaded nut which is cut for a spanner or a chisel and a hammer, but that's how this gland is held in. Another example is this Bobcat T300 skid steer, which might be a little bit difficult to see. But this gland is actually held in by a threaded nut, but it has two holes cut into the top of it for a spanner, almost like a wrench for a grinder, where it's got two nubs that sit down in there and the whole thing spins out. Of course, you can get it with a large pipe wrench. The dozer you could get the same way. And all I'm trying to say is that all of this machinery might be different. Yours may be different, but they're all essentially the same. It's just little nuances on how to get the stuff apart. That's really the only difference. The process for replacing seals and O-rings and all that it's virtually the same. We've got our rods loaded up. I got a couple things to do around here, then we're gonna head to my dad's. Okay, so we're at Dad's. Got the hot water pressure washer set up. Get the hot water pressure washer fired up. All right, so I don't have a pair of snap ring pliers with small enough tips to get this snap ring. A pair of needle nose should do the trick. There we go. So you want to push this gland just far enough into the cylinder to expose. There's a little groove about a 1/2 inch back, and each of these seal kits comes with a disassembly tool, little ring, which is right here. This little grooved ring, which will help compress. There's a little C-clip on the back of this gland, and you'll slip this in there and it'll compress it as you pull it out so it won't get caught in that groove. This little ring is just a little too big, a little too long, so I'm going to snip a little bit off. See if it'll fit now. Before I get too far along, the rebuild kit for this 512 loader is AHC 16966. And that's for all your internal seals. The other kit you're going to need, which is your wiper and your actual U-cup seal for inside the gland, is AHC 16982. Now we'll carry on with this other cylinder. These little removal tool rings, each of them seems to be just a smidge oversized. Now these are kind of shaped like a ramp almost, and that's to funnel that little C-clip, compress that C-clip as you pull it out. All right, it's looking good. We're ready to pull these apart. And I got her tightened down in the vise here. I am clamped on the barrel of the cylinder here. I haven't clamped down on it too hard. If these pistons don't want to slide out of here real easy, we might have to come up with something else. But I don't want to squeeze down on this barrel too terribly much because we don't want to bend it. But I don't think we're in danger of that right now. So I'm just going to slip a screwdriver through here, and oh, that's not going to work. Well, I didn't expect this cylinder to fight me too bad, but I think what's happened is when you shove that gland in far enough to slip that disassembly ring in there, you cover up this port right here, so it just pulls a suction on this rod, and it's trying to be a little difficult with me. So I've got her strapped down to the truck. I've got the other end strapped to the 45 horse Coyote, and we're gonna get this thing apart. Keep going. A little more. Whew, okay, well, that was about the most fight that a cylinder's ever given me coming out. These are probably the smallest cylinders I've ever done, except maybe a steering cylinder. But these are pretty close to the smallest. I just do not like the way you're supposed to get these out with this little disassembly ring. And the reason you have to do that is on these particular cylinders, it's got this little snap ring up under it, C-clip type ring that will just sit in that groove and never let you pull it out. So you use that little disassembly ring to squeeze it together, force it together as you pull this gland out. I'm gonna get this rod chucked up in the vise and see if we can't bust this nut off to pull this piston and gland off. I'm going to apply a little heat to this nut first just to give us a better chance. Alrighty, see if the old DeWalt can do anything. And this is a, let's see, what is it? 1.1/8 nut. Oh yeah. Ooh, nice and toasty. Will she do it? Yes, she will. A little bit of Loctite on these. That heat really helps with that. Now that we've got these nuts off, we can pull our piston off and our gland. All right, to start, we'll get our Teflon seal off of the piston, which I like to do that by just cutting it. Saves time. Get the backup O-ring. Get our first little O-ring. Backup ring goes behind this O-ring. See if we can get this wiper out of here. Oof. Thing just tore right up. That thing is crusty. Now down in here is the meat and potatoes, which is the U-cup seal. And there's your U-cup seal. Now for reference, this seal is called a U-cup because it actually is in the shape of a U, and that opening there, which actually makes the U, is always going to be facing down in the gland, which would be facing the pressure. So now we have our gland all broken down. I'm going to clean it up a little bit and we can start putting it back together. Going back the other way, we'll start with the piston because that's my least favorite part. You will have this Teflon seal here, which is actually the pressure seal between both sides of your piston. These are very stiff and not as stretchy as a O-ring. So what I do is I get a clean paint can with a little hydraulic oil and take and drop that Teflon seal down in there. Then I'll take a torch and heat this up to help make that seal more elastic and malleable so we can actually get it on the piston here. So I'll warm this up for maybe 45 seconds till the oil starts smoking a little bit, and it'll be a lot easier to get on that piston. It's nice and warm. We'll let that set for a minute. While we're letting that Teflon seal soak in, we'll go ahead and slip on our backing ring. Now we can fish this Teflon seal out of here. Oh yeah, it's nice and warm. Okay. The other reason it's good to heat these Teflon seals up is because it helps them expand and then shrink back to their original size. If you don't warm them up, sometimes if you stretch them too much, they won't contract back to their original size. So that's done. I guess we'll build the inside, then the outside. So we'll grab our actual U-cup seal here. I might dip it down in some oil, bend this seal. They make a tool for this, and I really need to invest in it. I've done enough of these that it'd probably be worth it. But you kind of want to bend it into the shape of a W. Finally got her in there. We can get our new backup for our O-ring. Get that slipped on. Our new O-ring. And another O-ring. Now, last but not least, we have our wiper. Keep the dirt out. I'm gonna warm it up. Alrighty, now we'll do it kind of the same way as that U-cup, except it shouldn't be near as difficult. Just work it down. Just like so. Both of these are good and lubed up, so we can go ahead and reassemble those. Take our piston, tighten that up, and this rod will be ready to go. So I'm not going to film this one because it is exactly the same process. Unless something changes or I find something interesting, then I'll bring you back. Now that we've got everything back together how we want it, I'm going to take some of this medium strength Worth thread locker. I think just a dab will do us. Then we'll spin her on home. That'll do it. So before you go to sliding your brand new seals back down into these bores, these are watertight, but only past the seals. So this little bit of space at the front of the cylinder tends to get water in there, and it never sees oil, so it does rust up. So before we go trying to slip these brand new seals back down in these cylinder bores, I'm gonna take a little piece of Scotch-Brite and just run it around the inside right at the beginning of this bore to knock off any of these high spots where it's rusted. And don't be scared if yours is rusted. Almost all of them are. But just knock it down and take off the high spots so we don't scratch up any of our new seals when we go to slip them back in. We are ready for reassembly. I think start to take a small amount of hydraulic oil. Just give a little extra lube to everything before we go slipping it back in. See if we can make something shake. Might need a little persuasion. Let's get our little purse. So before we go get too carried away, this little retaining ring here, which gave us such a fit coming out, is going to give us another fit going back in. So I saw this on the internet, and I'm going to steal it because it's a good idea. Take your hose clamp and wrap it around this ring to compress it. Kind of like a piston ring compressor. So now that ring is nice and tight, and as we drive it down, it will slip past and just push up off of itself. I'll demonstrate that. We'll keep working her down. Now, I imagine we'll hear this pin click into place, that spring retainer, C-clip, whatever you want to call it, when it finds its home. But if not, we'll definitely be able to hear a pitch change as we're banging on this gland. Okay, maybe not. We don't want to go too far. We won't be able to fit our C-clip back in there. What an idiot. Oh. Okay, well I was able to get that with too many pry bars. I changed my mind. Do not do that. Don't be a dummy like me. What we'll do next is put our C-clip back on. Actually did do a little better. There we go. We are in there. Give her a little tap home. This cylinder is done. So we got both our cylinders all finished up and back together. We're back at the house and ready to reinstall these back on the loader. Now I'll give you a little tip when you're putting these rods back in place. Leave the lines disconnected from the cylinder and take the caps, if you use caps, take the caps off and leave them off. Leave the cylinder open so you can pull the rod in and out of the cylinder to get these pins to match up just right. If you put the lines on, it makes a suction and you won't be able to move them. So now that we're all back together, the last thing you need to do before you go firing it up is make sure you got plenty of hydraulic fluid. We're in the add lines and we're definitely going to be needing to add more because we lost a lot of fluid taking apart them cylinders, and it's going to drink it up when we start to work the air out of it. I think that'll be enough to get us started. Yeah, that'll work. Last part of the job, fire up the machine, work the hydraulics back and forth till they work all the air out and fill up with oil. Then we'll check our hydraulic oil level one more time and we'll be good to go. Well, that's another job well done. Don't forget to check for leaks after you do this. Maybe you left something loose, might have torn an O-ring. Just a good thing to keep an eye on after you have stuff torn apart like this. Guys, if you would, please consider liking and subscribing. Really helps out the channel. Drop a like, comment, let me know what you'd like to see me working on next. Like I said earlier in the video, hopefully after watching this might give you a little bit more confidence to tackle this yourself. I think I said earlier that it was not difficult. What I meant to say was it's not complicated. Sometimes it can be difficult, but determination, strong will, you'll get it done every time. I appreciate y'all sticking around this long. Have a blessed day.